All right, so I got it all programmed, and Jeti is talking to the PowerboxSR2. Endpoints, everything is done. I've got a crow mix in there now. I've got the gyro working on the SR2. So I wanted to show a few little details that are different on the SR2 versus the Mercury. I guess first thing with the SR2 is it uses EX bus protocol for the Jeti instead of the UDI, which means that you get your, if it's EX bus, you get your telemetry back on the same cable to your receiver. So for telemetry, I've got my voltage of my two receivers, RPM, my two temperatures of my cylinder heads. Because I'm running a Rex assist, I've got my G-force, and then I've got my 2 amp current draw and voltage of my 2 batteries. The usage of the battery, how many milliamps, and then I've got my speed, long and latitude in case I happen to put it somewhere in and I need to go and locate it. Right now it's showing 0 because the GPS is not reading here in the basement. So yeah, EX bus now instead of UDI, which is nice. I've got my GPS here plugged into it, and this is the iGyro SAT that's plugged into it. So these two now are extras when you buy this. Nice screen on this one. Tells me my two receivers and my gyro's okay. Gives you the voltage of your batteries. The blue and the red talk about kind of where the batteries are in the range whenever they're under power draw. Right now I have my receiver set at, or my output set at 7.4 volts. And I do find that this SR2 uses a little bit more power than the gyro. So just stationary, I'm drawing 0.9 amps between both batteries. With the Mercury, I was always drawing around 0.5, 0.6. So it seems to be drawing a little bit more. If you hold this button down here, it takes us into the menu, and then with the other two buttons you can cycle through. So the one that's on the bottom is the one, if you hit enter, you would go into that. So that's how you exit out. There's the iGyro, there's matching, servo matching, sequencers if you've got the doors, your outputs, your inputs, and then general settings. A couple things that are different. I'll go back here to inputs. So now on this one, you can have up to 4 aileron inputs, which I thought is kind of cool. And I actually use that on this bike so that each aileron is a different input, and then I can do stuff like crow mixing and stuff like that with it. So that's a little bit different on here that the Mercury didn't have. There's 4 on aileron. There's 4 on elevator, and there's 4 on rudder. So that's a nice little upgrade. That gives a lot of nice little programming features versus a Mercury. I thought that's kind of cool. If I go back here in terms of output, it looks much the same as the Mercury. There are a couple little tweaks if you go inside each one of these slots that the Mercury doesn't have, but I won't get into that. And then if you go to the iGyro, I won't go to assistant there, iGyro. First of all, iGyro screen doesn't come up unless you have the iGyro SAT plugged into it, and then it recognizes it and it pulls this whole screen up. So they've changed around how the iGyro works. The Mercury, you use test flight assistant, and you go up there and you change your knobs until you get a little bit of flutter, you back off, and then you lock it in place to set your gain. This is now, they've kind of gone to something similar like the Cortex Pro, where they've got banks. There's this range A. They have a range A and a range B. So, and then within each one of those A and Bs, if you're on the plus side of 0, you're in damping mode. If you're in the negative, you're into heading hold, or what they call attitude assist. So it kind of is much the same now as a Cortex, where you've got banks, which is cool. Kind of looks like they've kind of gone back to the way that the old iGyro 3E has been set up to a certain degree. So I like that. They also have some more details in here. Now there's a characteristic, which the Mercury had, but now there's also stick priority and the lock feel. So those are two new ones that you can now play around with. So that'll be fun to experiment. Those are similar to the Cortex Pro now, where you've got, I think it's latching, and I forget the other one, but I think it's very similar to what the Cortex Pro has. So a little bit more stuff to play around with there. And let me shut that down. I do not want to start programming. There we go. Yeah, so that's it. So I'm going to shut this down. And I'll show my throws. All right, so the AA700's on the elevators. Crazy fast. Got lots of throw on these ones. They actually hit the ground. And then I got rudder. Then I've got aileron. And I've got my ignition. Light should be on. Yeah, light off. And then I've got a crow as well in it. So I've got it right now where I push a momentary switch right here, SP. When I push that, the crow comes out.
Crow. High rates. Crow.
And then I've got this set up right now on different flight modes. So you'll see the high rate in the top.
Crow.
And there's crow.
High
and
rates.
then I've got a low rate as well here.
Low rates.
Low rate.
High rates.
High rate. And crow. And so because I did flight modes with the crow, now if I move my aileron stick as well, I still have aileron control with the crow. And I can also add in more down elevator or up elevator as a flight mode trim to get it to fly perfectly level when I deploy crow. I might also set up crow now based on my throttle stick position, kind of like the old Mamba did, where when you were at idle, it did the max crow. And as soon as you started to accelerate away, the crow disappeared. So I might add that in as well. But for now, this will be something fun to try.